So I mean, I really gotta apologize in advance, but if you look at the bottom left of the screen for me, just 1 second. Yeah, this thing gets released, there's gonna be some interesting some interesting crosshairs for sure. It's all my fault. Oh wait, I think he's venting. It has just occurred to me that the first video of this tank was in January of last year. So anyway, I worked on it some more. Alright, so optics in Starfall. So the first noticeable thing is this, I guess, scope effect. So you might notice that the scope effect is static. I can aim around independent of the sight. And the scope does have its own traverse limit, so you can see there's a left limit, right limit, up and down as well. It can be different depending on which setting you want to set up for it. But also it can be fully restricted, so here is what that looks like. And another thing you might have noticed is that my crosshair has its own restrictions as well, so you can't see it here, but if I go back here, no, okay. I can only move my cursor so far, and then it like jumps off the screen, and even then it's limited to how much it can move off the screen. And with the free gun, that's what this looks like. So the camera, the scope, the optic, is relative to the parent. So if I locked the gun, it had its own range of motion. But if I unlock the gun, it basically follows it around. So it helps a little bit with aiming. But it's pretty cool in the, if it's fully restricted, because I guess you have like this War Thunder style aiming. Now I am connected to a server, so it is stacking with my ping of like almost 150, so a little bit disorienting, but let's say if I start rotating the hole, and see when the gun can't keep up, my aim position stays in the same spot. So currently all of the old camera modes still work in the optics, so you can see this is just the gyroscopic camera. I can also turn on the relative camera, so that's pretty funky if you're still aiming the gun. It just drifts. But also I can have the position tracking camera as well. Still aim around. And yeah, that works in all of the optics, so in the stabilized optic, I guess you can call it, since it has a range of motion. Let's see. Right there. So also originally I wanted to have like some motion for the camera, move around. I finally got that working now. Why isn't the camera locking? There we go. But what I ended up doing was basically making a server-side hollow, and when you switch to a perspective that has motion on it, it will just parent the camera to that. That seems to be the only way to get it working without any jittering, because if you make client-side hollows, and try to measure speed client side, it gets desynced and just doesn't really work well. But it finally works after almost a year now. So you might have noticed the graphics. There is some new drip for MFCS, I guess. So that's the static cursor you've seen already. There's a different sight for my secondary and a different sight for my primary. These might be standard, but the thing about these is that so far the sights are customizable. So I guess this is for calibrating the sight, moving it around, setting the scale and whatnot. However, what you can do is you can just import a giant, so here we go, crosshair. You can just import a giant drawing function that'll do things like set color, draw a rounded box, whatever. And this is not some custom like layer I had for CFCS. This is basically just Starfall rendering things. So you could even do things like push matrix, pop matrix, things like that. So you can do rotation. So this is one of the sites. This is okay for the 120. So I guess the Abrams style site. And for the secondary, I just had a different one. Tried to find pictures of like a CV90 site, and yeah, these aren't one-to-one by any means. And of course those sites were made... Stupid chip doesn't work. So those sites were made in Shape Editor. Let's see, let me load one for you. Oops, I know that's the wrong site. My bad. Sorry guys, I slipped. So I just made these in the Shape Editor chip. So here we go, there's the Abrams site, which is very well organized as you can see. And there's my crosshair graphic. And then that CV90-esque graphic. So I really need to finish this as well. This is why everything's taking so long, really. I decided to do two things at once. Making a heads-up display and this weird shape editor thing. So for me to check. There he is. Oh, yeah, that's quite clever. No, don't you even think about it. Anyway, that pretty much wraps up this showcase. So this time I added optics and removed the TIWS. Well, truth be told, there was a bug and I didn't feel like adding it back on, but that is basically it. And until I figure out... Well, until I add something else to this thing, which is probably not going to happen, or just finish something else in GMOD, I'll see you around.